YouTube. Yay, Plon, how's it going? Yeah, so Sunday, I'm ready for a bucky. Not had a drink all week. Sounds like I always drink all week, but I've not. So I'm going to start off with a wee bit of a wee warm-up jam. Daniel! Hey, fellow madman, Pontiac. Hey, Jess, still not sent you your bass neck. I will do it, honestly. Going. Hey, Cameron! Hey, Steve! Ronnie! Yay, got a community going! And now I'll play a wee bit of guitar so I can do some bucky. It's roasting today, so I might not be playing that much, might not go on that bit. And I had more than a pot to do tonight. Yes, learnt my lesson last week. Got a bit. Hey Buster, how's it going? I hate you for buying that bass. Got a Squire Katana, beat me by 5 minutes, 6 minutes the other night. So I would have quite enjoyed that. So, cheers everyone. Lovely. I've still got that bottle of Eldorado that I bought for midweek last week when I was going to, and then I kind of started thinking, during the days, I'd be quite fancy bucky. So did the same again tonight. I suppose if I really want to get pure slamming, then I can have the LD afterwards. Not going to happen. I've still got half of last week's bucky. I only really drank about that much last week, but I had to stop because I was getting a bit wobbly. Can already kind of feel it a wee bit tonight already after one drink, just because it's hot and I'm standing up. Yeah, so I shall start off with the guitar I'm playing tonight, which is a 1983 Washburn Stage Series A5. I think I might a good session of garden today. Yeah, fantastic. I think if I did sit in the garden and had a wee bit of a bucky earlier on today, I would either be one, asleep, or two, trying to work out how to turn on the computer. That's kind of one of the real downsides of it getting smashed when you're turn this around a wee bit. One of the downsides of it getting smashed when you're on the internet, if something goes wrong, there's no chance of fixing it, basically. So if it just dies, then I'll probably restart it up again. But I don't really know how to do that. Yeah, so this got a gig coming up. I'm going to take two guitars. I've decided I'm going to use, well, I kind of always thought I was going to use this, my Ibanez Blazer with the Dayglow drip paint finish. Fantastic guitar. And I was just thinking about another one. And I saw this. I thought, yeah, I really like this one. This is the baby of the range, the cheapest one, the 5. So this is a bolt-on neck. It's still through strung. It's still got the harmonic lock bridge, and it's still got the power sustained pickups. But it's got a maple neck, and I love the maple neck. It's not a one piece, but hey, it's a super deep V. I don't know if this is probably not going to show up, but you can see it there. It's really V shaped, like a laminate neck. It's like 3 pieces of wood, which is a much better system. You can actually see if you look at because it's 3 pieces, you can see that neck's actually asymmetrical. So the sort of tip of the V isn't in the center. It's kind of on this side a bit, which I believe means that Yamaki made it. That was one of their ideas, although nowadays you do get guitars, like the custom shops and stuff like that do make asymmetrical ones because it kind of fits that bit of your hand quite well. The result of what you get is you get a neck that it's actually quite thick from there to there, but see when you're playing at the edges, it's really thin. It's really pure, but you still get like a pure triangular piece of wood for rigidity. It's a great idea. Hey Ronnie, but I bet probably better being drunk. I'll try and join you. Yeah, EKS Starfire. Next is Nagoya. Well, I don't know, but I've seen them as advertised as Japanese. I do know that they were kicking about sort of late 80s, 87, 88, 89. Buster has one with a broken, I think the neck's bust on it. Buster's neck's bust. And you get them with like crackle finishes and stuff like that, like intentionally crackle finishes, very, very 80s, sort of slightly pointy headstock. I think my pal Ivor said something about them as well. You do see them occasionally. I don't know where they came from, but you would think saying Nagoya on it. Nagoya is a part of Japan. That's where if you get a BC Rich NJ series, I've got a couple of them, like the early Japanese ones. The NJ stands for Nagoya, Japan, for about 2 or 3 years, and then what they did was they opened up some sort of PO box type office in New Jersey. So then BC Riches, instead of being made in Japan, they were made in Korea. And they said America on the neck plate said, BC Rich, whatever, Fort Worth, Texas. Is that? No, it can't be. That someone else does that. Yeah, so it says New Jersey, and it's so it doesn't actually stand. It stands for New Jersey after about 1984, 1985, but before that it stood for Nagoya, Japan. Nagoya is the bit of Japan, kind of. I think it's in the middle of sort of Japan where all the guitar factories are. So it's like this will be Nagoya as well, being a Yamaki build. Yeah, nicely done. I'll try and make it look like this wasn't rehearsed. My pal Cameron lives literally 500 yards up the road. As I said, it was hot. So it's obviously hot where he is, seeing as he's just there. I was actually up at the shop, bought that bucky like 20 yards away from his house. And it's like, how would you sort fret buzz on a bass? Started buzzing after not being used for a couple of days. Yeah, so we'll just pretend that he didn't ask me this 10 minutes ago, and then I told him how to fix it. And then it wasn't until after I said, I was like, damn it, you should have waited and asked me on the live stream. So thanks for asking. I don't like to, I wouldn't what's the word? Deceive you by saying it was actually a genuine question. It was a genuine question like 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago now. Yeah, so getting buzz all over the place. I suggested, it's really hot today. And I think I've seen it. You showed me a picture of one of his guitars before. He was in like a loft conversion, which I used to live in as well. So it's probably super mega roasting today, and it's normally freezing in Scotland. So what happens is, like, if you look at a bass neck, it's like just a random bass. This one wouldn't be as bad because it doesn't have the 24 frets, but that's a very long piece of wood, and these strings are very tensioned. So it's like quite often, especially on sort of pointy-headed basses where they're trying to make them, thin necks, it's very bendy. And I've had quite a few basses, like kind of the ones I don't really like. So early 90s used to do it a lot. And see, basically, if you take one of the strings off the bass, the tension of the strings is holding it straight. And as soon as you take one of the strings off, it bends back and all the other strings just sit on the fretboard, like with a really thin neck bass. And that would only get worse with the heat. So what you really want to do is, I told him to give the truss rod a quarter turn. I actually asked him to check. What you do is you hold down the string on the last fret and on the first fret and look in the middle, kind of sort of here. You should be getting, the string shouldn't be sitting on the fretboard. And so a wee bit of a ball here with a gap in there. That's what you want, especially on a bass. If it's too straight, and it's once it does that, it just buzzes all over the place. So hopefully that's it sorted. Yeah, sorry. So can I tell you one with the EKS? I don't know. I've never had one, but you do see them occasionally. You said you got them for nothing. It's interesting that it says Nagoya on it. I'm pretty sure I've seen them actually say Japan on them. Starfire Japan, I think. But I don't really know. I don't know how true that is. Spike the likes. Yeah. I'm down with that lingo. Yeah. Cheers. I'm a wealth of knowledge. Well, I really don't knowledge. I like to talk. And I've got opinions and everything. Basically, everything I say, it's all I can. I will alter my opinion given better information. So it's like when I do say, like, this is like, well, I think it's 83 because the serial number starts 83, and I think it's Yamaki. But I mean, if there's more information comes up that contradicts that, I will not stick to that information. I'll just always go with whatever's the newest thing. Yeah, Cameron, it's all sorted. Good stuff. Sometimes it takes a while for the truss rod to respond to the adjustment you make. But I've just figured, because I know you like your long, and let's be honest, but to me, ugly basses, they've normally got like a 24 fret neck, which is even longer. It's that much longer than a normal one. Then you get lots of high fret access, and it's likely to have a really thin neck. It's kind of more likely to do that. If you've got a thicker neck, like something like this, because it's like triangular, if I adjusted this down, it might take a couple of days to respond to my adjustment, if you know what I mean, because the neck wants to be where it is, especially if it's an older one. The Edible Betty, I don't recognise your name. You must be new. Welcome. I drink Bucky and talk nonsense online. Like, is there an easier way to play an F sharp minor? Not really. It's like you're kind of, I suppose it's really just the power chord. Just play like, that note and that note, and then don't hit the other strings. I mean, I do that a lot, but I'm playing it just from the very start, so it's better with distortion on. And it's like, that's almost as good as, is it? Yeah, okay, that's F sharp minor, but fills the gap. And it's better if you're singing, just sing over it. So I mean, I do that a lot of the time. It's like I'll just play the very simple power chord of whatever chord it is, because those two notes are right, because both those notes are in F sharp minor or F sharp major, but you've just kind of not resolved it, I think is the correct term. So they're both there. It's just being whether it's F sharp minor, and then so you get your two notes, and then the next one in the chord is the same as that one. they're just octaves, so you don't really need that one. So it's really the next one that determines whether it's a major or a minor. So you've got like the one is minor, and then you put your finger on there. Major, minor, but if you just play, it's kind of neither. Wow, this sweat is pouring off me. I wonder if can I just open this window and just, yeah, or just maybe talk a little bit quieter. Yeah. Yeah, Stephen, a ball here. It's technically someone. What was it? I saw someone, some English guy call it a gnat's whisker, and it's like, no, it's not a gnat anyway. It's a midgie. I can have a discussion. I've had this discussion while steaming quite a few times about where you get midges, which are gnats, like mosquito-y things that you get, and they're bad in Scotland when it's hot, and it's basically on Loch Lomond. And I always think that, is it a midge? Because you get like midge-ure, but I always think it's a midgie. So it's one midgie, two midges. Discuss. Yeah. Fifths are major or minor. That sounds major or minor. They're just kind of like they're neither really, isn't it? It's just a note. I don't know. I wish I knew more. If I might get a jazz chords book. Can't be a jazz chord. Could I know it? I'm sure there's much more confusing ways of playing it, but I suppose I think it's really you've got to learn to play bar chords. Really, it's really all you have to learn. You don't need, even again, as I said, you don't need to be able to play the whole chord. Even if you can just do the power chords, that's for your F sharp, that's for your B. The trick is to just hit the two strings, or mute the other strings with the rest of your hand. I'm kind of doing that without meaning it, but I've just kind of learned to do that just by force of habit. So these strings don't ring, whereas if you just kind of let them ring, it's not the same thing. Just by kind of, if you've got that, because you've got using this finger anyway, just let your finger just sort of kind of sit on the other strings so that it doesn't play anything. And that means when you actually hit it, you only hear the important notes. Yeah, or it's like we talk about Toya. I was actually I watched a few of the Toya things, Toya and Robert Fripp, before she got like a mega upsurge in viewers, and there was one. It was one of the first ones I saw. It was her and Robert Fripp, who looks like the most sensible guy ever. Pure boring, glasses, shirt and tie, plays the Les Paul sitting down. He's obviously a bit of a nutter though. And it was the two of them in their back garden, wearing like dancing to the Nutcracker Suite, and they were both wearing like tutus and tights. And it's like, this is Robert Fripp, like one of the most accomplished, and technically I've no idea what he's doing at all ever, guitarist in the world, doing that. I thought it was hilarious. And then he started doing all these covers, and some of them were pretty good. The one for Paranoid's quite funny. I seem to remember she sitting behind like the kitchen door, like the bars on their kitchen door, and she's kind of dancing about. But about a month ago, maybe a couple of months ago, she did a video where she was wearing a really, really tight top. You could totally see her boobs. And it just went, the subscribership went up about 5,000% or something like that. And I keep noticing, I've not actually watched it, but I keep noticing them coming up. And she was doing one the other day where she was wearing like I don't even know what you call it, like tights material top with like elastoplasts on her nipples. And it's like, these are the ones. So it's like, fair enough to her. She's not being exploited. She knows exactly what she's doing, but if she can be popular, I mean, she looks pretty good for being, I don't know how old she is, but I mean, fair dues to her. I think it's just it's like a lockdown thing. Hey, Colin, right. I was going to try and, I might do it. Someone suggested that I try and put like a timestamp thing in the discussion, in the description at the bottom afterwards. Last week I was going to do it, but I was pretty steaming, and to be honest, I don't want to watch last week's stream, because although I thought I had a great time and probably did quite well, I don't kind of want to watch it. It might be quite embarrassing because I was quite drunk. So maybe hold off. The problem is it's kind of happening again because it's roasting. I'm already sweating and the bucky's tasting awful nice. So what I'm doing, an old tactic I had before is, although I'm taking lots of drinks, I'm taking very small drinks. So it's like, it's like, it's just that much. at a time. That used to be my tactic. Normally when I was drinking before, it was somebody started getting to a half bottle, you started feeling a wee bit, and that's when I started doing that. So you still got all the joy of picking up the bottle, unscrewing the top, taking a drink, putting it back down again without actually getting pure slammed. Yeah. Okay, I'm craving a reverse headstock style Strat. Looked at Squire Showmaster and Stage Masters, but there's actually a bolt up Strat. I think that's upgraded Strat for sale. Oh, bolt. And Alloy with the Warming pickups and locking tuners. I've seen a few bolts or bolt. You're right, it's bolt. I don't know if that's exactly how you spell it. It's not B-O-L-T. Maybe B-O-U-L-T is right. They look awfully good. I know a guy that was selling one in Alloa, which is where you're saying that is. I wonder if it's the same guy. I'm trying to remember what the guy's name was. He fixes boilers. He's pals with him on Facebook. I can't remember what his name is. Is it Gordon something? I've sold him a few guitars. Lovely guy. He just I think he's always got about 10 or 15 or 20 guitars, and it's like I was talking to him. He's just like, yeah, well, I figured I could buy. You could buy a Les Paul, or you could have 10 150, 200 pound guitars instead. So he just has 10 150, 200 pound guitars instead, and he buys and sells them. And but if he hasn't played it, I think his rule was if he hasn't played it in 3 months, then he obviously doesn't like it enough to keep it. So he sells it and replaces it with something else, and always has 15 guitars, 5 of which are semi up for sale, and 10 are the ones he likes at that time, which is a great system. I like it. I can totally fall for that. It means you get all the joy of doing the hunted, looking up guitars, and then maybe buying them if you kind of set your limit at sort of a couple £100. But I mean, if it's got Warming pickups, I'm not really that much a fan of locking tuners, but if they're on it, I wouldn't take them off. I would give it a go. I assume it's cheap enough. I would give it a shot. The reverse headstock's a funny feeling thing, but you get used to it very quickly. The first reverse headstock guitar I had actually was a Squire Showmaster, and it felt really weird. And then now I can play an upside down headstock and not really even notice. The same thing happens with if you've ever played an Explorer type guitar, which this kind of is. The first time you play an Explorer guitar or bass, there's nothing here, and it feels really weird. The neck seems dead long. I've obviously this is the same length, and I think even that length is about the same length. But it's just the whole fact that there's nothing here really feels strange. It feels like you're missing something. I remember strongly feeling that when I first got my Aria ZZB bass 20 years ago, and then now just an Explorer. Don't notice it. A similar sort of thing happens with a Flying V when the whole guitar seems to be over here. There's nothing here because obviously it just cuts away. So this bit of the guitar is just kind of, it's not there. So you feel kind of naked. But I would definitely have a look at it. The Squire Showmaster and Stage Master, my pal Dava collects them, or I think he's got maybe 4 or 5. There's various different ones. I've had a couple of them. I've actually got one in bits through there just now. Just the cheapest one, which is a kind of black. It just looks black, but it's like black metallic when you hold it up to the light, sort of thing. And Strat type tremolo upside down headstock. I think it's HSH or HSS. But the thing guitars get very, very thin necks on them. I would maybe try one first. It's kind of like a Strat for. I always feel it's very much a nu metal, Limp Bizkit type Stratocaster. I don't really have any reason to think that, apart from it just kind of feels like that. So it's more like a sort of shreddy, but still quite stratty. It's one of those ones that kind of sits in the middle. What was the guitar I had the other week that felt sat in the middle somewhere? It was a Dean Flying V, and in fact it was an Epiphone Explorer, which actually was kind of similar to this shape wise, and it was like this. It had the 80s metallic sparkle finish and no scratch plate and the black hardware and stuff like that, and it was just kind of one of those things that's like, it was an Explorer, but people who want an Explorer, you're likely to want either like the classic Explorer, just like for the sort of vintagey look, or you want the pointy heavy metal Slayer type one, and it's kind of in the middle. So it's like whether you're actually appealing to both markets or neither. I mean, I feel a wee bit like that way with Flying Vs. I like an original Flying V, like I mean, the one I've got is not a Gibson one or anything like that, but you know, the classic looking one where you just get, it's just, but as soon as you start putting it, making the points more pointy, it's like, I don't want that. I don't like the look of it. I don't really feel this is pointy. Is it a pointy guitar? I don't know. The thing I always liked about this one, the headstock, although it's a really weird looking headstock, it totally matches this one. So it seems to be very obvious that whoever designed this guitar, in fact, I know who designed this guitar. His name's Hiro-san. I've not talked to him directly, but the guys on the Dayon website have. They had a Dayon event thing where they actually had the designer and the guy who, it was his dad and his uncle who owned Yamaki Factory, who made these, and he designed this guitar, the stage series, and they invited him to. We've got lots of actual real information about vintage Japanese guitars straight from the guy who made them. So there's lots of things you'll learn. It's like when you look up the internet, it's like the famous one. There's an argument about it again the other day. It's like, no, Washburn guitars were made by Matsumoto, and it's like, yes, there is a website that says that. It hasn't been updated in 15 years, but we now know from the guy who made these, no, they were never made by Matsumoto. So we know this. Toya's bits, yeah. Toya's actually the current drummer in Saxon. When I say current drummer, I think I almost said new drummer, but I think, to be honest, he's been in Saxon since about 1985 or something like that. Was Toya's drummer, Nigel Glocker. He's signed my denim jacket, which you can't see. But yeah, I do find it quite surreal watching some of the Robert Fripp playing some songs. You know, he was playing like Nirvana and Paranoid and stuff, and this guy's the one who plays the Mad Loops, where he's got his own type of tuning and all that. So I mean, it must just be absolute silliness for him to play some of these songs, and he's like, up here, yeah, okay, we'll play that. And I bet you he doesn't have to work it out. It's just like, you're all right. Is that all? Up here, right? And he's obviously sitting there like, up here, all the time he spent on some of the really complex King Crimson songs, and none of them, I don't think any of them will have sold as much as Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is like, it's just like that. Yeah. Not that I'm slagging off. I mean, obviously, a good song doesn't necessarily mean it have to be a complicated song, and a complicated song isn't necessarily a good song. Some of the best songs ever are just super, super easy. And that's great. Hey, J-Bob. Thanks, man. Looks like a guitar from Minecraft. I can see, I was actually thinking something similar to that as well. It does look like someone's kind of drawn it in Photoshop, doesn't it? I don't really know. It's obviously sort of an Explorer. Don't know. Hold on, I'll catch up with these things. I'll have to. My plan was I was going to write down when I answer questions, but I'll just watch the stream again. Maybe not put it up tonight. I don't really want to watch myself again, but I'll kind of put some sort of rough guide thing in the bottom. I'm missing out some. Oh, whoa, if you're skipped, everyone's asking stuff. Yay, great. I've skipped through. How much? You just turned 63. We're having a discussion on here about Toya and her dress sense. Fair enough, and she's 63, so I mean, she looks awfully good for 63. Midges are Scottish snakebite. We're trying to catch up where we are. Right, here we go. Right, I'm back up. I've got midges in my garden, stayed overnight in Snowdon. Got bitten to death by midges. Yeah, Snowdon it'll be Wales. Yeah, Wales is kind of like Scotland. It's rains there as well, and there's midges. I don't really... I don't think I've ever been there. Used to make the best rubber boats. Avon used to be made in Wales. I've seen one recently. Oh, look pretty reasonable. So I built 7-string SG, a decent guitar. Right, well, there you go. I think I might have seen the Bolt. I don't know who Bolt are. Are they another one of these companies that kind of existed between for like 3 or 4 years where someone had the great idea? I was thinking about that. There's a Les Paul up there. It's a Rally, which I think is the same thing, where somebody comes in and goes up here, hey, look at these Epiphones and Squires. They're coming in at 350 quid. I'll go to the factory and I'll get them to make a guitar that's slightly better, and I'll be able to sell it for 250 quid. 250 quid. Fantastic. And it'll be basically be the same factory and everything and all the same parts as the Epiphone Squire one. That sounds like a great idea. People will buy that, and then they don't sell well because people go, oh, it's not an Epiphone or a Squire. So they don't have the same resale value. So maybe buying these things new maybe isn't the best thing. But the thing is, it comes in later on, 5-10 years down the line, people start going, oh, that's a really good guitar. It's a bit more interesting. And then they go through the stage of like once they're sort of 5 or 10 years old where you can pick them up for 50 quid, 100 quid. And then in another 10 years' time, they start going back up to the price they cost new, and then they become classics. Hey, Ravensmead. What guitar is this? Watching some Motorhead stuff and Phil Campbell's guitar. I'm not really sure. I can't remember what guitar Phil Campbell played. This is a Washburn A5, 1983. The Stage series. If you've seen my videos before, I've got the Wing series, like the Hawk and the Falcon. They've all got cool bird names. And this was the other series they had at the same time. And they called this the Stage series. Right, okay. What are the names of them? Have we got like cool names? It's like A5, A10, A15, A20. You're like, oh. Why is it not called a War Beast or a Raptor or a cool name? It's just called an A5, which is a little bit depressing, but hey. A chord 1 finger or 3, what should do, guys? Everyone needs advice. Well, a chord has to have 3 notes in it to be a chord. So, I suppose the way you could do an F sharp is see if, or does that work? If you do drop D tuning, which I never do. So basically, you drop the E string down to a D, which means instead of having to play your power chord like that, you could just play it like that, and that'll give you all your power chords. I think lots of people like Guns N' Roses seem to do that, and it was I think the Chili Peppers did it as well. I'm just trying to think of all the people I used to know who used to use drop D. I never did. I don't use any strange tunings. I was talking to my pal the other night, but that's the only strange tuning I use is the baritone, which isn't on the wall anymore. It's tune B, E, A, D, F sharp E, which is basically standard tuning, but down because the strings are longer. And also in the Black Sabbath band, I tuned down to C sharp, but it's the same in relation. All the strings are down 3 steps or whatever it is. So it's still all the same chords in the same order instead of just when you're playing an E, it's not an E, it's actually a C sharp. So it doesn't really matter. I get yourself a see-through top like Toya. I don't know. It's up here. I don't know if the internet could take me naked. It's up here. Yeah. Many Finju plays an old fiddle. She still looks no bad. Yeah. It's done another cover of Paranoid today. Oh, another version of Paranoid. And maybe they're going back round doing them again because that one did well. I see they've now got a pal. I think their next door neighbour comes over and plays rhythm guitar now. It used to just be the 2 of them. I think maybe now they're a wee bit more popular. It's up here. Let's put a wee bit more in it. Hey Craig, it's Sunday. Oh, it's a bank holiday. So I can drink tonight. Yay! Smashing. I used the 3 notes in the 2nd fret, D. I think the D, that may be a smile. I don't know. Yeah. Hey Daniel, what's the white strat in the background? It's this week's Trade Tuesday, which I'll give you a wee sneak preview. It's a Van Halen, a DeVille. Does anyone remember DeVille guitars? I sort of remember them being in the shops. I don't remember much about them. It's got a really nice neck on it, and it's got a Wilkinson pickup in it, and it's been made to look like Van Halen on a white guitar. I figured this one looked a bit like I've actually already done the video, but I've not put it up yet. Of see when Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, when they go to heaven, and they're all wearing the same clothes, apart from everything's like a sort of pastel color of the version of the clothes they're wearing. That's what Van Halen's guitar would look like if he was in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and went to heaven. That's what I think. Learn both, too hard to explain. The thing is that you can have shortcuts, but you got to keep doing it. DIY last week. All right, yeah. Oh my, I've finished very nearly the my super guitar stand case thing. It was actually when I'm doing this gig in a couple of weeks. When I'm looking at this guitar, I was going to play my Flying V because we've got this girl coming on and wants to play. She's really young, like 19 or 20 or something. Wants to play Enter Sandman, so we're going to be our backing band for a song. And I was thinking I could bring my Arbiter Flying V, which is the same guitar as James Hetfield used at the start of Metallica. His white Gibson Flying V isn't a Gibson Flying V, it's an Electra Flying V, which is Matsumoku built, basically an Aria Flying V. Mine's badged Arbiter, but it's the same guitar. And then I was sitting there, and I'll be taking my super new guitar stand. The Flying V's not going to fit in that. So, it's like, mind you, maybe don't need a stand, but I would feel a bit of a prat turning up with a super guitar stand and telling everyone about it and showing it off and only being able to put one guitar in it because it doesn't fit because it's a Flying V. Yeah, it's not the lawnmower. You want to see my lawn? Well, I use the term lawn. It's the green thing, the green square in front of my house, which is, I think some of it's grass. Most of it appears to be moss, bulb bits, and dandelions and stuff like that. So I just go out and cut that every now and again, as little as possible. Stuart, I have heard of Edwards guitars. They're very expensive. They do like Les Pauls and stuff like that. I've never actually played one. But I'm looking. Basically, I think you're talking. It's a similar level to the Washburns of the early 80s and the Matsumokus and stuff like that. Apart from they're really expensive, like $1,000 sort of thing, or like sort of £700-800 $1,000, because they look like they're copies. They are a Les Paul shape. This is not an Explorer shape or Explorer copy. It's just its own design, which is not as popular now. There was one my pal Aaron had, which I wish I'd brought off him, but I didn't. It was like Edwards have their own sort of Epiphone type line. You get like a Gibson Epiphone, you get like an Edwards cheaper version, and this was it looked basically like the Les Paul 100 Epiphone, or the slashy one, bolt on neck and all that. And their sub brand is Brian. So basically, it's a Les Paul. It's it just says Brian on the headstock, and I was like, pure. I like the idea. I've got one made by a company called Phil, so it just says Phil on the headstock. So I quite liked having Brian as well, but I didn't have any money at the time. I don't think he got very much for it. I think it was 100 quid or something like that, which is a little bit much for a sort of joke guitar, because the main joke would be, "Have you met Brian?" But I already get that joke with my Phil one, where I can go, just picking up Phil. How's it going, Phil? Dave Lister in Loud Dwarf is normally a genuine Les Paul copy that he plays, I think. A Satellite, I think, is the one I've seen before. I'm a bit of a Red Dwarf fan. I watched it all. I remember watching it when I was at school, and I think it was maybe Red Dwarf 2, or I think it was Red Dwarf 2 was the first time I saw it. So I remember when I was at primary school, I remember for some reason I've got a bizarre thing where talking to my pal about Red Dwarf 2 walking to primary school. So whenever that was, a long time ago. But I watched kind of all of Red Dwarf. I loved it. Series 6 was like just the pinnacle of awesomeness, and then 7 and 8 I didn't like at all when they started having lots of CGI effects. It's like I think they were maybe trying to be a bit more mainstream. Didn't like that very much. And then a couple of years ago they came back on a British channel called Dave, but I think they sort of semi-funded it themselves. And then so they were back to zero budget, and it's like, two folk locked in a room for the whole episodes, and it was really good. I need to watch that again. Actually, I think it's maybe seasons 10, 11, and 12, or 11 and 12. I can't remember exactly, but they are pretty good. What was it? Slagging off Scottish people a bit. There's one of those like that here. There's less choice than a Glasgow salad bar. Things like that. I thought it was quite funny. Yeah. I'll try and catch up. Here we go. West Borland. I don't know who West Borland is. Plays a left-handed V turn, a right-handed. The V's one of those ones that doesn't really. That's one of the ones you can get away with. I think you can sort of get away with an SG as well. It's like really obviously just the knobs get in the way. Well, probably not on a Flying V actually. So if you're playing a Flying V, you're kind of coming in here, so the knobs are probably, here-ish, which is not really where you're playing. So you probably just get away with a Flying V, just whatever's cheaper, I suppose. Wait till I play the katana. Yeah. Rubbing it in, bastard. I have an SGR listening here. I know it's crap, which is hard novice to know right now when you strum. SGR, that's is that not Schecter Guitar Research? I doubt very much you get a shite Schecter. I've got a couple of. I wasn't impressed with them when they first brought out that Diamond series, because the couple of Schecters I do have are from the 80s, so they are better than Fender. Like, I don't think anyone argues that they are not. So they're not like that. They're kind of more like your sort of Korean guitars, like your modern guitars. But I don't think you get a shite one. I think you'll only get the cheapest one will still be a damn good guitar. So it's maybe just not set up right if it's not sounding good. Maybe it kind of depends what it is you're trying to do with it. Yeah. This month's Record Collector magazine is a Sabbath special. Well, I don't know, it'd be kind of interesting to see that. I mean, there's quite a few Sabbath albums I never bought that I think were probably pretty rare, but I've got a few. I've got all the original ones anyway. Yes. So I've got the Black Sabbath 1 with the gatefold and the inverted crucifix on the inside. I've got the Paranoid's kind of made of a sort of fuzzy felt, crappy cardboard cover gatefold. I've got that one. 3 is I've got the Master Reality, which comes in a box sort of thing. So, well, it's kind of squished now, but it's like a box, and then the inside it's got the vertical label. You know, it kind of looks like you're falling down a hole, and the inside sleeves like that as well. I've got Volume 4 on a rare. It's on the vertical label as well, which even though I had a reprint of that first, I bought that one because this is going shows you how long ago this was. I bought it because the vertical one is a gatefold, and when you open it up on the inside, there's a photo of Tony Iommi playing an SG, and I didn't have a photo of an SG. This is before I could play the guitar or I knew anything about them. So it's like the only way, nowadays is like what you don't know what an SG looks like. But I basically bought that because it had a picture of a red SG, and that was why when I bought it's not a red SG, but the way the picture's done, I thought that was pretty much when I saw this one. It was like, the fuck, the same as Tony Iommi's and thingy, because it's like a kind of blurry picture. This is obviously the cherry red, like most of them are, but it kind of looks like that one. So I'm interested to see. I mean, maybe I need to have a look at Record Collector. I did buy the Record Collector big thick manual book thing in about 2004 or something like that. So I'm aware of what records are worth money. I don't know what they're worth. I just remember looking through them. It's like the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, really expensive and stuff like that. I mean, I've got all the Beatles albums, all the Stones albums, all the Who albums, all the Deep Purple albums, all the Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, a couple of thousand records. And it's like very rarely do I ever pay more than like £2 for them. Like out of the, I think I've got maybe about 1,500, 2,000, and maybe 1,000 of them were £1. And some of them are worth lots of money. There's a Spooky Tooth one, which I don't like at all, but it's worth 50 quid in the 2004 Record Collector magazine book thing. So maybe that's worth lots now. I always wanted to sell that one. If you want, hold on. I'll try and run through these a wee bit. I'm getting a bit behind. If you want to play classical flamenco guitar, you need a teacher. If you want to play Sabbath, learn from the records, use your ear. Millions have done it. Relax. Yeah, I like to play guitar from Sabbath, and it was my pal left. All my pals were playing guitar basically, and they all played "Stand By Me." Like that, and they seemed to be doing that for months, and I was like, I don't see the attraction in playing the guitar at all. And my pal Robert left his guitar with a wee tiny amp that had distortion at my house. Once he was up steaming one night, and I had it the Sunday, and he left Black Sabbath, the anthology guitar book, which basically just gave you the riffs, I think, or maybe give you the solos as well, which that's in China just now. I gave it to my girlfriend, and I was looking at it, and I'd never seen tab before. And I kind of read the bit at the start that told you how tab worked, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was like pure. And I was like, No, that actually sounds like the song. Whereas all my pals who were kind of playing 1-2 buckle my shoe, I was like, and I was like, and then that was it basically. And then after that, that's how I learned to play the guitar, and it worked out because even the songs I really liked, not all of them were in that book, but you could kind of work them out. You know, it's like it's basically just find the note, and you've got a 1 in 12 chance of getting it right because there only are 12 notes on a guitar, and then you make it a power chord. And you just play in the rhythm. So I learned everything from that. I still play that way. And now I'm playing bass in a Black Sabbath band doing that, which is great. Okay, yeah, we're in the Toya thing. Get my pants out. I've got my legs out. Look, woo. Can't show you any more of that. It's like if you ever understand how white Scottish people are, super white legs. So white and blue. What's happening with the Washburn from Facebook Marketplace? I don't know. I don't know what Washburn and Facebook Marketplace you're talking about. I don't think I'm selling any Washburns. Am I? I've got one I should sell. I've got an A10, which is basically, this is an A5. The A10 is set neck, or it looks like it's through neck, but it's set neck. Rosewood fingerboard. It's got coil splits and it's got like a Les Paul layout rather than a Telecaster thing on it. And it's got a Caller tremolo on it. The reason it's white, the reason I don't need that one is because about 2 weeks after I bought that one, after searching for one for years, up came one in mint condition. It's blue. So I've got like an A10. It's like this blue binding, white binding on it. And it's kind of the same as this, but it's not the bolt-on neck. It's not maple. I think that's about all I've got. I don't think I've actually got it up for sale. Yeah. We have subjects. What's the furthest place you've been to in England? I went to the Canterbury Fair in 2004, 2003, 2004, 2005, I think. That's kind of London and then going to the right a bit. So it's in Kent. Stayed in a place called Sea Salter. Whitstable, is it near Whitstable? I can't remember exactly what it was. I think that's the furthest. The only way really can get further in London is to go Cornwall way. I've been to Glastonbury. That's kind of, is that further away than Kent is? That's pretty, I don't think Glastonbury is really that far away from the sea. If you're kind of going, it's maybe 50 miles from the sea sort of thing. The 1 year I managed to make it to Glastonbury, the 1 year I managed to get a ticket. It was awesome. That's really it. I've not really been to that many places. I've been to see a few gigs. I saw Roger Waters in Manchester and Cat Stevens in Liverpool and Baby Metal in London. It's the Stones in London, the Who in London. Yeah, not really been. And my pal on Download Festival. My pal Wayne lives down in Leicester or Colville, which is near Leicester. Been down there a few times. York. Been at Newcastle a few times. Did a job in Preston. Saw a caravan in Rotherham. It's kind of. I saw Manowar in Birmingham. I've been to some places, not that many though. I'm missing out here. You could use the bolt-on system to clamp the glued surfaces, Vaseline and the screws so they won't get glued in. Right, is that somebody talking about that I've missed? Sorry, I'm going to try and catch up, but I'd like, could that whoever put the question in there about the bolt-on system to clamp the glued surfaces? You're talking about converting a guitar into. I've missed that somewhere. I'm now pretty drunk, so I'm not able to find it. But that makes sense. I actually my Epiphone EBO that I use in the Sabbath band. I bought that with the neck snapped off it. I basically just bought the body, and I was like, "Here, well, it was only 15 quid." I can't have to buy it. I'm never going to find a neck. And the guy's like, I do have the neck, but it's broken. Give me the neck anyway. What happened is the neck had been ripped out, the thingy, and the body was intact, but where the screws went into the neck had ripped the holes out the neck. The neck was intact. So basically all I did was kind of stick it on, clamp it, stick the screws back in again, and glued it with PU glue. So it's now technically a set neck, even though the bolts are still there. Just leave the bolts in. The only thing against the bolt-on neck thing is people go, "Oh, it's a bolt-on neck, it's not as good." It's as good. Really is. One of the things I can see, if you're looking at, say, like a Les Paul, and it's a bolt-on neck, it's more likely to be a cheaper guitar. It is cheaper to make it a bolt-on neck. It doesn't make any difference to the quality of the guitar, but generally, if it's a bolt-on one, it's likely to have cheaper everything. Whereas if you've gone to the point of making it a set neck, you're more likely to spend a bit more time building the guitar. So it's more likely to have better pickups, better tuners, better wood. Really. F sharp minor with an open E and B is Alex Lifeson chord. I know who Alex Lifeson is. Not a huge Rush fan. My pal Wayne is. I've been to the Rush convention in Bathgate twice, and it's a great laugh. It's just, I feel like a bit of a fraud. I have been out in the sort of beer garden at the back of the place that has it, talking to other folk who aren't total mental Rush fans. Rush is one of those bands where you kind of get people who's like, there's not that many people that sort of like Rush. You either don't like them at all, or you know every single lyric and every single engineer and every word of every album and every, it's like they're totally all-encompassing. I think someone said that with Slayer before as well. You either don't like Slayer, you've got it tattooed across your forehead. That's your two options, sort of thing. I'm sorry you can't come to the gig. It's a private party. It's a festival. It's in the borders of Scotland, and it's the drummer is it's kind of like his retirement due sort of thing. It's also to celebrate the sort of end of the lockdown from COVID. So I think it's like 100 people playing in his garden out in the middle of nowhere. He's hiring a marquee and a sound guy. There's 4 bands playing. He's in 3 of them. So he's in a punk band, which I've never seen. They're on first, and then it's Cranking House, which is the band he's in with me playing the guitar. And then he's in a Led Zeppelin tribute band, which has got 2 of my pals in it, and the singer from Cranking House in it. And then the headline, or the last band, is the Black Sabbath band, which is me playing bass in Black Sabbath. And it's a free bar, so I'm going to get pure hammered. And he's just letting people camp in his garden. So it's like, it's one of those ones where it's just like, yeah, kind of the object is to puke. But really, if you don't whitey, then you're not doing it right. It should be fun. All right, I'm going to try and catch up here. A vintage Les Paul P90s, they seem decent for 350. I was talking to Cameron earlier on about vintage. I've not come across a vintage guitar that hasn't been really good, like a vintage brand one. Even the earlier ones, someone had an argument before saying it's like, oh, after Trev Wilkinson came in, they've started putting Wilkinson hardware on them. Yes, Wilkinson hardware is good. That's probably a better thing than what was on it before. But the 2 SGs I've had have been pre-Trevor Wilkinson, and they had good hardware. Maybe not as good as Wilkinson, but not, it's like a bridge pick. It's like they don't have to be fantastic to still be good. It's like the ones you get on some of the older Epiphones, especially, and Squires. It's like they are intentionally bad so that you don't buy the Epiphone, you buy the Gibson sort of thing. But I mean, even if you're buying modern hardware from China on eBay, like humbuckers, I was looking up red humbuckers for a reason, which I'll tell you about later. And it's like you can pick up ones that look like DiMarzios, and it's like 12 quid for a pair. And it's like, I've bought a few pickups like that, and they are really good. They're like, there's not that different from your Wilkinsons and your Warmans. And sorry, I shouldn't really say that. I do like Josie Warman. They are good because it's like pickup is just a magnet with a wire wrap around it. So you can just copy the DiMarzios and the Seymour Duncans and kind of churn them out. There's not really any point in making them cheap and rubbish where you can just like, okay, we can produce a pickup for £2 and sell it for a tenner or whatever. Or we can make it for £1.60 if we make it rubbish. And it's like, there's no point. You might as well just make the ones at £2. So you end up with pickups from China being great. The only guitars you get that don't have good pickups in it, they've intentionally put bad pickups in it so you buy a more expensive one in the range, if you're in my thing anyway. I was saying there about JP Devlin. It's great. There's a wee thing going on here. Vintage Les Paul. Born over in Belfast today as well. Yeah. Aye. Boy, I assume you're talking about. I know Brexit's really fantastic for Ireland in the total. It's like everyone's really happy about that. I don't know. Do they hate Westminster as much as we do? Don't know. Boiling is just we're really hot. Is what it is. I remember I was in afternoon with my girlfriend, and it was roasting, it was boiling. Let's be honest. And the guy in the shop's up here, you're not pure boiling, because he was wearing like a black hoodie, and she was up here. What's that mean? It's like, boiling. Are you not really hot? All right. Really good at English, but things like boiling, or biling maybe even better. I can see it's hot in Scotland. Aye, totally pure. It's a pure sweat fest. My street's really quiet, like pure, super quiet. You know, I can hear. Actually, the other night I was I was lying in bed. I had the window open, and I could hear a sheep baying. And there's the nearest field is like a mile away, and I could hear. That's how quiet it is here. So that's why I don't have the window open. But otherwise, everyone will be able to hear every word I'm saying. I'm sure they can hear me when I play the guitar. Everybody must. Nobody says. The Les Paul vintage. I'd imagine you mean vintage brand, not vintage. You know, you're not saying, oh, I saw a 50s Les Paul, a 50s Gibson Les Paul for 300 quid. No, you saw a vintage brand. I know it. Oh God. Lovely in Inverness. Yeah, Inverness is cool. Have I been to Inverness? I've been to Inverness, yes. One time, my favourite sandwich used to be. I'm just going off a tangent. I'll come back to this. I'll try and answer questions. Try to be in. I'm miles behind in the chat. It's great though. Old Lang Syne Electrics. It's possible to rock the house at midnight with that. Surely, Old Lang Syne must just be. You must be able to just single note that one. The next chord's important. We hear right good Willie Locht, which is actually the words that Robert Burns wrote, not the we'll have a cup of kindness yet, but have a right good whiskey. Well, Bucky didn't get whiskey Bucky back then. The Committee for the Liberation of Terrifying Organisms in the Rebellion of Society. Oh yes, that's yeah. I remember that. It's like we've got a real big problem to deal with, and I mean a massive problem. We've really got to really buckle to the chapter, everything into it, and I propose a really, really, really tough leafleting campaign, and that's when I've tried to fight off aliens. Yes, I remember that. No, you're probably just not. You didn't watch Red Dwarf. The SG Vintage project is not. I keep getting sidetracked. I've now bunged up the holes for the Tunematic bridge. I've got the Badass bridge sitting there ready to go on. I've got the genuine John Birch pickup rings. Really, that's all it needs to be done. I've found the monkey sticker, and you get it from America. It's a tenner and £2 postage for America. I don't think they bother putting Brexit tax on an envelope, basically. So I'll probably buy that. And actually, reading up about the monkey sticker, the blurb on the thing is it's actually that is the sticker that's on Tony Iommi's guitar, is the one that they reissued. Because he was like, the guy's like, I couldn't believe it. I'm just making these stickers for a laugh. You know, someone did it for a project. I think they were making them for the reissue, you know, the £10,000 Tony Iommi. He was making them for that, and then it's like Tony asked for a couple of those stickers for his guitars because it kind of rubbed off. So it's an actual genuine, the same as what's on Tony Iommi's guitar monkey sticker. That's a tenner, but I don't know if I'm going to buy that or not. Make mine a Squire with a nice high action and sharp frets. Smashing. Yeah, I mean, I did a Squire during the week there, a classic vibe, and I've been slagging off classic vibes because I've played them. I didn't like them, but the telly was really nice. Had to do a little bit of work on the frets just to make it absolutely perfect. But really, I mean, if it didn't say Squire on it, I honestly don't think I could tell the difference between that and a Mexican vendor. It had the things I like. It had the glossy fingerboard. I think it's a 50s one, which I don't. I know people like the idea of 50s. I just think I like actually playing the 50s ones as opposed to they're a bit more. They're less generic. I like guitars that feel and sound a bit different, like this one with its Toblerone type neck on it. and it's a crazy shape. I like that more than, I'm not really super impressed with like a sunburst Strat. Well, that's a 50s one, so it's quite nice, but you know, like tobacco sunburst Strat or a blonde Kelly or the slash coloured Les Paul, the cherry red SG, and even something a bit different. I want. Yes, you were. No, I'm sorry. I was talking about the vintage, the Tony Iommi one. Sorry, I'm still a little bit behind. The UK is the same size as my state, New Mexico. Yeah, but how big is the UK is like what we don't want to be. I don't want to be in. I'm in Scotland. 5 million of us, or 5.5 million of us. Yeah, and quite a lot of ours is grouse moors owned by the English. Something like a third of Scotland's just owned by rich aristocrats who use it for hunting. Yeah, I'll not get too technical about that. Yeah, yeah. Scotland is, there's only one bit of Scotland where all the people live in the Central Belt, which kind of goes between Glasgow and Edinburgh in the middle, and it's 45 minutes. I'm in Glasgow. It takes me 45 minutes to get to Edinburgh, and that pretty much covers all of us. There's kind of a wee bit up the east coast where you can kind of go up to Aberdeen, Dundee, and Inverness, but the sort of top left hand of Scotland is just wilderness and the most beautiful country in the world, pretty much. All Scottish people say that, though. I watched Echoes today, Pink Floyd Pompeii. I hated Pink Floyd when I was younger. I remember putting it on. I used to get really annoyed because I was probably listening to, and it's like, but there's nothing happening because you'd be listening to, you know, Shine On, you know, sitting there drinking, and it's like there's nothing happening. And about 4 minutes in, it went dung 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 up here. It started, yes. I wanted to listen to Black Sabbath, but when I saw Pompeii, none of the pals were really that impressed with it. I was absolutely blown away by Pompeii. It's fantastic. Preston is north. Preston's way south. Yeah. No, it's Pompeii for me blew up. It's the things that I like. The album Meadow, which is from Atom Heart Mother. It's like I can sort of see, kind of warming a little bit to Dark Side of the Moon. I like Animals, Atom Heart Mother, and Meadow are the three best ones. And there's a compilation called Relics, which is kind of some of the sort of early pop-y sort of stuff with Syd Barrett and some sort of more singly stuff. That's really good. That's my four. I'm not really that keen on The Wall. I know it's shocking. Or Dark Side of the Moon or Wish You Were Here as much. I like Animals. A lot of people don't. Get Me Cheaper on Facebook. Sent you a link. Get it cheaper, of course. I know the Firebirds. Has it been painted a sort of pinky metallic-y colour? I saw it. It's my pal Cameron actually sold it to that guy. I think it's a guy I know of. Dealt with him a couple of times. I don't want to say his name. It's like Daz, and he doesn't sound Scottish. That guy, I think. It's a Raleigh star-shaped guitar. When you say star-shaped, do you mean? Does that mean like what's his face? Bootsy Collins' bass, or Bjorn from ABBA star-shaped, or do you mean star-shaped as in, you know, kind of like an Explorer but with bits cut out it? I don't know. I don't know anything about Raleigh guitars. I had a Flying V that was awesome, and that Les Paul is awesome. It's brilliant. I mean, if that said Epiphone on it, it'd be a £400 guitar, easy. It just doesn't say that on it. Hold on. Oh, I'm so far behind in the chat. I'm sorry. I keep talking too much. Isn't Rush the Dungeons and Dragons of metal? Yeah, I don't. Are they metal? I always thought that Rush was only for people who could play the guitar because it was so complicated and difficult. I actually met the convention thing in Bathgate I went to. They had I think his name's Pete Brown, who's like the fourth member of Rush, like the way George Martin's the fifth member of the Beatles. And it was me and my pal Wayne. We were talking away to him. I was pretty steaming, have to be honest. I think Wayne was worse. We're talking away, and he's like, Pete's like, this is Malcolm. He doesn't like Rush because they make him feel sick. And Pete Brown spat his drink out. He was absolutely pissing himself laughing because I think normally when you go to these conventions, everyone's pure worship you. what kind of mics did you use on the drum kit on blah blah blah, the third song on Hemispheres? And someone actually goes like, well, because his drum, I was pure horrified. But the guy, at least he was a lovely guy, and he totally took it. And Timmy was just laughing. He was laughing for 5 minutes while I would just pure went bright red. And I was like, no, I didn't say they used. I said they used to make me feel sick. I like Hemispheres. Yeah. Whitey, whitey's when you go white and puke because you've had too much to drink or smoke. Got 2 vintage LP, Sunburst and SG with the Wilkinson on them. The LP sounds better. Well, does it sound better for playing Black Sabbath and AC/DC? I don't think it does. It might do. Albuquerque, New York, Mexico. Don't tell people online about our weather. Don't want more people coming here. I can't handle the heat. I mean, we're sitting there. I'm saying it's pure roasting. I think it probably got up to about 21 degrees centigrade today. Something like that. We're just... XX Paps. I can't tell you. It's a vulgar number. I don't tell people how many guitars I own. It's shocking. You can kind of look at them and it's like... If it's 80s and Japanese and I've got a video for it, I've probably still got the guitar. I love Warman pickups, put them in everything, even my wife. Pretty good, yeah. No, I do like Warman. It's just, when you compare the Warman pickups that it's meant to be copying to the one that it's copying, I can't tell the difference. The one that it's got that sounds like a Gibson. The one I remember was called a Destroyer or something like that. And it was meant to be similar to what's in my Gibson SG. It's exactly the same. It's like, maybe if you had an oscilloscope or you were in, like an expensive recording studio and you were George Martin, you could tell the difference, but I can't tell the difference. And it's like nobody who's, not like a professional musician can tell the difference. It really doesn't. Anyway. This everyone just stick a figure in the oh, you're asking everybody how many guitars you've got. That's fine, totally. Yeah, no, do that. I can't tell you. I can't. It's really embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Yeah. Jimi Hendrix version. Oh, that was what I was aiming for. Have you ever seen the Boston version of Star Spangled Banner? If you haven't, look it up on YouTube. It's hilarious. It's like Boston, you've got the multi-layered guitars and stuff like that. Yeah, it's some. It's not the Super Bowl. It's whatever the amateur, the lower league Super Bowl type thing is. 4 guitars, 2 bass guitars, 1 MIDI keyboard. That's quite sensible. You can get more. Crack open the cocktail cabinet. Yeah, I've actually got this stuff's dangerous that I refuse to drink. I got given this for Christmas. Glava, however it is, and this stuff is lethal. I've had a couple of sips of it. Like, you can look how much there is left in the bottle. That's 2 attempts. I had a wee sip of it to see what it was like when I got it, and then last night I had 2 wee sips. Something. It was only up to there, and it was like head spinning, and it's like whiskey with honey and stuff in it, so it doesn't burn. So I mean, honestly, you could drink that in one go, no bother, and you would just die. If you drink a quarter of it, and then stop, it's dangerous. I don't really know when I'm going to drink it. I'm not touching it when I'm on the bucky. It's like that's just instant whitey, as I said, as an instant puke. I can see. Just want to have 19 electrics. That's not too bad. But the thing is, do you have 19 electrics instead of having one really expensive one, which is, it's not that uncommon for people to have like a $3,000 guitar or a couple of $3,000 or $4,000 guitars. If you've got 19 or 20 at 100, 200 quid, that's the same thing. Brilliant. What do you play, Bringing the Bells? And for the Millennium, I was playing my red SG, and we played we played Hell's Bells, obviously, along with the Bells, in my pal in Lennoxtown's house. That was quite a long time ago, and I did have the SG. We were in a band at the time called G-Rock. Our golf course is owned by Trump. We're not talking about that, but Nicola Sturgeon basically once was like, Trump's not welcome in Scotland. He's not welcome here. I mean, legally he is, but Nicola Sturgeon, who's our First Minister, is like, don't come here. We blow the bridges up, we can have an independent Fife. The Kingdom of Fife? You're not really that independent. You don't need to go over a bridge to get to Fife. Have an independent Fife if you want, Ken. I don't know. Have you seen Zabriskie Point? I have actually seen Zabriskie Point. I can't really remember it though. The only bit I remember is the bit where it's there's a house on top of a sort of mountain thing blowing up in slow motion. That's all I really remember. I've heard of a Hondo has Paul Dean. Sorry, I don't know what Surviro is. Have you heard of a Hondo Paul Dean? Is that talking to somebody called Dean? I've had a Hondo Les Paul. There's decent ones and there's pure shockers. One of the worst guitars I ever had, the most disappointing one was a Hondo Les Paul. Was kind of looked a wee bit like a Les Paul Junior. It was like flat top. It had a scratch plate. It was it was Les Paul shape, but it wasn't raised up. It was just flat at the routing in below, and it had fake humbuckers. The fingerboard was plywood, and the net, it's like the fingerboard was plywood, and it was utter rubbish. But I think it was quite old. I have tried iron gear. I had one called a Hot Slag, which I got in a guitar, and it's very much similar to Warman. I think excellent, great. It's one of those ones that's kind of good for. It's a sensible choice, really. If you're doing up a guitar, put in Warman's Wilkinson's iron gear. There's another one I can't think of. It's sort of the same kind of idea, where they've just got like a Chinese factory and they give them the specs to make them the same as DiMarzio's and stuff. Yeah, but I mean, as I said, pickups are a funny thing. It's like a lot of people. It's like it's total brand loyalty. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I've got my guitar. I'll put my Seymour Duncan blah 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 in it," just because that's what they're going to do, and they don't even listen to the guitar to start with. And my favourite pickups are probably DiMarzio Super Distortions, and I would class these as DiMarzio Super Distortions, or very close to. They're just the stock pickups in this guitar. They're fine. I really like that. Is the best pickup I think I've ever heard. That's an Ibanez Super 58. It's just amazing, but it depends what it is you like. I like DiMarzio's, where it's kind of. I don't think there'd really be any use if you were using modern amps. Like if you're using, that's right. I've got a what's in the box to do this week, so I won't mention. If you're using like more modern high gain settings, I don't think this guitar is really going to work. But if you're playing through what at the time I've been playing through like that wee Laney, which is very similar to the Sovtech there, so it's kind of like a Marshall JCM 800 type circuit type sound. These sort of things just absolutely kick ass. They can't do the super high gain, but that's not what I want to do. I want to do this. I want to be able to play clean and it to distort really early, but it never really distorts. You can never really play Metallica on these. Not well anyway. Yeah. No, I can see iron gear being really good. Oh, here we go. Wow, it's like, thanks so much for asking all these questions. I'm sorry it would take me so long to get through them. There must be a way of. I'll get around to it eventually. I did miss somebody was talking about bolting a thing on. I've not come to that again. I will go back. I can maybe even go back to it when I'm looking through the thingy to try and timestamp it. I'll answer the question in next week. So I'll put any questions I miss and I'll write them down and I'll talk to them at the start of next week. That's a plan I just thought of. Nice one. Yeah. Blues ones by some Metal Gear ones. Metal Gear might be one as well. But yes, I've seen that happen before. I've been watching Warman pickups before, and I've actually been looking at Warman's pickups before. I was going to buy them, and they went for more than they cost new. It's like there might be some reason for that. Maybe they're not wanting to post to whatever it is they are. Maybe they're in Europe or something. And Warman doesn't post. I don't know. Or you don't know. I mean, just because I was talking to my pal Ronnie, who was around earlier on about this. Just because me and him spend all day looking up stuff on eBay and stuff like that, but a lot of people don't. I'd imagine most of the people on here probably do. Being guitar nerds in the nicest way. You kind of know that. Some people don't really spend any time looking up videos on YouTube and learning about guitars because they're too busy at work and stuff like that. And they spend time with their kids, or maybe they're into something else, golf. But yeah, just because I spend my whole time like Sailor Jerry's erases my mind when I've drunk it. I don't know what Sailor Jerry's is. It's like Drambuie with metal toe caps, lovely dram. I think last time I had Drambuie, I was sick actually. Yeah, last time I had Drambuie, I was sick. That was working, and it wasn't working. I was at it was a BBC live floor show from, I don't know, what, 10, maybe more than that, 15 years ago. My pal used to work for the BBC and got us in, and I sat, it was like a sort of comedy, it's like in the TV studio, there was like 2 stages. It was a comedy stage and there was a music stage, and it was Robert Plant playing, and we managed to fight our way in. There's a massive queue outside, and we got in just because my pal worked there. So we're sitting right at the front. Literally, the stage was there. Robert Plant was there. If I'd just done that, I could have touched Robert Plant's foot, and that was fantastic. And then we went to the after show party, and it was a free bar, and we got double Drambuies. And that was the time I was nearly sick. But also at that time, we were waiting to get into the queue at the bar, and somebody turned around and they pure walked right into me and just spilt all their drinks all over the front of their suit. And I was like, pure, I'm so sorry. And he's like, pure, well, I'll be going back in front of you in the queue. Then just turned around and got more drinks. And I think it was Darragh O'Brien. It was either Darragh O'Brien or the pub landlord guy, Al Murray, tall, bald guy. I think it was Darragh O'Brien. Yeah, claim to fame. I've got a Takamine EA10 acoustic. I was watching Nothing Ever Happens, and Justin is playing one. I don't know who Justin is. I don't know who Nothing Ever Happens is. I don't know who any modern stuff. There's an Alloa Gap. Okay, yes, I actually know what you mean by the Alloa Gap. Yeah, you're talking about going over the Kincardine Bridge. Oh no, you're talking about going over the top of Stirling. Yeah, that'll be all right. On the rummage tonight? No rummage for me. I don't on the buckage. I keep the wee thing on the side looks like I'm nearly at the bottom of the chat, and it's like every time I go down, it just goes down about 5 pages. Try to catch up. I think what I need is another TV screen that's just got the chat on it. Stephen McDonald's message retracted. It must have been too rude. I missed it. Damn it. Any chance for a pickup wiring masterclass? Oh, I don't know. XXX Paps. What would a pickup wiring masterclass involve? I've done some pickup wiring, but it's like what is standard pickup wiring? I tend to put things in. I mean, this guitar's from 1983, all original. I got off my pal James, who lives down the road. He sold it to me far too cheap, and I still feel guilty about it. So this is a standard wiring, and I've modded it. It's basically just 2 humbuckers, a 3-way switch, volume and tone, and this is I've got added coil splits. So I've got a coil split in the bridge and a coil split in the neck. Is that a wiring masterclass? I don't know. I did actually do at one point. I think they're still. I think they're actually uploaded onto YouTube, but not put live. I was going to do. I started recording Switch Sunday, and basically every time I did a guitar for a few months with a different type of switch in it, I did a demonstration of what the switch did. Because I was thinking if people wanted their guitar modded, I could go, well, here's a list of the 15 wiring mods that are easiest to do, like as a sort of price list, and that was maybe a year ago or 6 months ago. So they're still there, unlisted, but I'd have a look at it. Guitar wiring's not that difficult. It's just that whenever I do the videos, I need to clean my garage out so it's not so embarrassing. I can film in there where I do most of the work, like have it actually properly set out. I've kind of been trying to do it in here, and it's like it's kind of having my webcam camera on there, and it's got light behind me, and it's really badly lit, and I've kind of got the other camera, that one, kind of on a rod trying to point down and stuff. It just doesn't seem dead easy, and I just end up talking all the way through it. I do occasionally do. I haven't done one for a while. I'll do one. I'll wire. Tell me which type of guitar you want me to wire, and I'll do a video of it. XPX Paps. Got an LP studio, and it feels great. I think that our Nico, no need to change. I'm not really sure. I know our Nico or not. It's either a Nico or ceramic. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? It's like rather than just spending. It's like, I say you spent £100 in pickups for your guitar. Well, the old one's rubbish. And it's like, no. spend £100 on records or booze or something, or another guitar, then I don't really care what kind of brands. I mean, even something like that Squire 51 or that Raleigh Les Paul. If the pickups weren't excellent, I would have changed them, but they're great. It's a magnet with a wire wrap around it. It doesn't. Okay, I know the thing is that ceramic pickups are bad. No, they're not. It depends maybe what it is you're trying to do, and maybe if you're touring the world or recording an album that's going to hopefully sell 10 million copies, and you're a pure pro, maybe you can tell the difference. But really, it's like not that much. I mean, I think, to be honest, I don't even have an EQ pedal, but I think if you've got like a 7-band EQ pedal or something like that, you can probably just make your guitar sound like whatever. I've got a Les Paul, I wish it sounded like a telly. It's just a signal. So can you not just twiddle with it to make it sound like a telly? Or do it in post-production? I'm shite at it now. 3 guitars I can't play. You can't play because they're not wired right. Tell me what kind of guitars they are, and I'll show you how to wire them up. The trick is, which I always tell everyone every time I'm ever doing anything, which is the first thing I was ever taught with wiring, is you put solder onto whatever it is you're soldering. You put solder onto the wire, called tinning, then you join the two together. If you take a bare wire and try and stick it onto a pot and put solder on it, you can just heat that up to 1 billion degrees centigrade and it'll never work. You end up just having liquid solder everywhere and it'll never stick, and it's just atrocious. The trick is basically try and do it not inside the guitar. Buy some crap pots or some broken pots and some speaker wire and just practice taking the end off and just soldering it on. Oh, that's a good join. How long you have to hold it? Ideally, you want to be soldering. You want to hold the soldering iron on for that's it. That kind of thing. That's the amount of time. So just basically practice doing that for half an hour, soldering things to things. Just not any specific place. Like a broken pot. Try soldering wires on all the bits and one on at the back, and then take them off, and then do the same again, and do that half a dozen times before you try and do it inside the cavity, because obviously it's pretty awkward to get inside the guitar and suddenly you can't get it from all angles and there's other wires in the way and blah, blah, blah. Once you can actually do the actual connecting the 2 wires together or whatever, do it when it's out in space, and then go into your guitar. And don't start by wiring your £1,000 Les Paul. Buy a shite one off Gumtree for 20 quid that doesn't work, and then make that work, and then you'll get a wee bit of an achievement. Yeah. You're a class entertainment. Thanks very much, Steve G. Great. Bucky Bucky makes you sexy. Yeah. Get another soft tech and play 2 at the same time. One crush. Where did I get another soft tech? I've very rarely ever seen them, and they reissued them a couple of years ago or last year, and they're like 900 quid for a reissue, and it's the reissue is not made from genuine ex-Soviet submarine and tank parts, hand wired with no circuit boards in it at all. It's like all the valves just have capacitors and stuff soldered onto them, joined onto the next thing. So it's not even like a turret board. It's just total hand wired. Fantastic. But you're talking about playing through 2 at the same time, 1 clean, 1 crunch. I do have a splitter box, so actually I can. So there's it is a bass amp and a guitar amp I can put. So there's a bass amp in clean and a guitar amp. Oops. I'm actually thinking of doing that in the Black Sabbath band and playing the bass. Thinking of having a splitter, basically using that AB pedal. So I've got because obviously you need fuzz. And I'm thinking I've just got that amp, the Marshall 150 watt for clean, and then having it split and having I've got a smaller 60 watt Laney. Just have that with a fuzz pedal in it. In fact, I actually bought a new fuzz pedal, which I'll do a video for. It's not just fuzz; it's power, wah, and fuzz, all in one. Cliff Burton thing. Video of that coming soon. I'm going to wear my denim flares and my denim jacket and play my almost like a Cliff Burton aria bass and play for whom the bell tolls. Headstock correct, pickup correct, body shape not quite correct, but in the same page of the catalogue as the Cliff Burton one, for that one Metallica song I really like. When they're playing some grass festival thing. In our sort of tech. Paul Dean was an artist model, a chambered out neck. A chambered neck? Really? It can't be a chambered neck, must be a chambered body. I'm slipping on gin and juice, laid back with my mind on money and my money on my mind. Gin and juice sounds good. I don't know. Hold on. For some reason, it's like, okay, here we go. Because I sold her stuff in front door lock, Andy, mind with the key to go in. Yeah, it's good. It's good that we're all getting I'm getting the impression other people are drinking as well. That's a good thing. So not trying to be too seriously. Oh, hold on, what's going on? Oh God, not catching up. Sailor Jerry's is rum. Rum is dangerous stuff as far as I know. I actually had some grum last week. You don't want to know what that is. I was JD and Coke. JD's a whiskey with an E in it, isn't it? I'm Scottish, so we should drink whiskey with no E in it. Not really a big fan of whiskey, to be honest. Delamitri. I actually remember there's a Delamitri song I quite like. Can't remember what it goes like though, so I can't obviously like it that much. Why do you want to touch Robert Plant's feet? So I could maybe get some of his rock mojo. Seemed like a lovely guy though. He was funny. He did it. I heard it was fun. This would be like 15 years ago or something like that. And he did it. He got the yeah. Can you do a? They did 2 songs on the show, and then at the end it was like pure. So one of the comedians like, get Robert Plant to play another song, and he was like pure. If you want, And it's like the floor managers were all pure. We'll do one anyway. He's like, get everyone clap on. Can I do this? It was some crazy rhythm clapping. We were like for a minute. And then it was like pure, it came in and I can't remember what song it was. It was When the Levee Breaks or something like that. It was pure amazing. Fantastic. Yeah. Recognise that. Perhaps it's doing my EKA Starfire bass. Keep them right. Oh, perhaps is fixing your bass. Good stuff. What projects are you working on? I've been working on. I've got so many projects. People keep giving me other guitars to fix and giving me stuff, and it's like I just working through. I've literally got 15 projects on the go. The Tony Iommi. I did a big list for a pal the other night, so I can probably remember it. And the Tony Iommi one. There's a left-handed Music Master bass. There's the Bucky Van Halen Wolfgang. There's a West Tone Concord. Some of these are for me and some of them for sale. Just I need to offload some stuff. Anyone think the Welsh? Oh my God, I don't remember it. What was the charge of the? That is. Here we go! Tango Division destroyed! Fucking down! I'll not bother mix it up, but Budgie are awesome! They're absolutely fantastic. I really like the album with Britannia Ruled the Waves, They'd Wave the Rules. If I were Britannia, I'd wave the rules. Bandolier, Breaking All the House Rules. Absolutely amazing. Budgie totally kick-ass, and they should have been much bigger. I totally agree. I actually nearly bought a Flying V that was built and used in Budgie by the guitarist. It was only 450 quid. And it was maybe about 5-10 years ago, and I was totally considering it. Would you consider a paid lesson? I'll do anything for money. It's not sexual. Anything not sexual, I'll do for money. That's fine. Great. I've actually caught up. Yes. An hour and a half in. Fantastic. The Cardi and Coke's good. It's a highlight of my weekend. Cheers. It's a highlight of my weekend. Actually getting to drink again. It's like now I suppose I've got a bit of an excuse. I'm allowed to meet up with my pals and drink again, but it's I kind of get used to doing this, to be honest. I kind of start looking forward to it. It's Saturday, drinking tomorrow. Fantastic. You know, Mitchie Scottish Great World Cup song, Nothing Ever Happens. My tacky mini guitar in the video was excited. All right. Now it comes back and I recognise the song. I Don't Come Home Too Soon or something it was called. Yeah, remember that. Hey Billy, good to see you. How's Edinburgh? Yeah, I was actually told when I bought that they weren't allowed to make that particular model of guitar of amp anymore in like the EU because of the radiation that came off it. That just made me want it more. JD and Coke. I take it when you mean JD and Coke, you're really meaning straight Jack Daniels and cocaine, Lemmy style. I don't know. I can't stand folk that take cocaine. They just totally do my head in when you're talking to them. When you meet somebody and they're really, really, really annoying, and then it's like later on you see them come out the toilet and you're like, that's why they were really, really annoying. Real men drink Bucky constantly. No, you drink whiskey at night, so you don't when you're asleep, so you don't need to pee as much. Yeah. So I've actually caught up with the chat, so that's great. So yay! Kind of. The sweat's pure streaming off me. It's really difficult. Scottish people cannot handle the heat. I was meant to be going to Taiwan, and it's like looking at it. Well, obviously I can't go because they've just got the thing. It was just so it's up here. Yeah, I want to move. Do you want to move further down south? Is it up here? It's like it's not as hot there. It's like it's 40 degrees just now. 40. It's like 40 degrees is where my skin falls off. There's no way I can handle 40. I went to China in December, like a couple of years ago, not this December, unfortunately. She told me it's up here. It's winter, be cold. Bring your. I've got like Spider-Man leggings, like kind of manly tights, I suppose you sort of wear and below. Kind of look like Spider-Man. You wear it below your jeans for when it's cold. So I'd taken that and a big jacket and stuff like that. We're coming into the airport. I was up here. The temperature today in Shenzhen is 26 degrees. It's like 26, fucking hotter than it ever gets here, and that's winter. Ridiculous. So I was walking about in China dressed like this, totally sweat running off me, and everyone's walking about with big woolly jackets on, like that, pure hoods up, pure ridiculous. Bring that shat over here, man. That sounds like someone who's on the bucky, whoever it is. Half bottle of JD, dash of Coke and one ice cube. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Oh, Frosty Jacks. Me and my pal G wrote a song once, and it was kind of we twisted it, so it was like pure da 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 with a bottle of Jack, and then it was like Frosty Jack. So it was like the whole thing about the chorus, the verse was like pure drinking Jack Daniels and being cool, calling it Jack, and then the chorus was Frosty Jack, which if you don't know what that is, it used to be. I don't even know if you still get it. You got it like a blue Zeppelin. It was like a 3-litre bottle of cider at about 8%, and there's absolutely zero natural ingredients in it at all. It's pure chemicals. I actually bought one for a laugh a few Christmases ago. I'd buy a 3-litre. It was only £3 or something like that. A big Zeppelin of cider. Turned up with it, and it was like pure. Honestly, just couldn't drink it at all. It was like I'd paid for it. I'd be trying to give it to folk, and it was just a pure. Couldn't handle it. What's the dime bag's black tooth grin again? I don't know. I don't think grin is what I think grin is. It's you don't want to know what that is. I had my pal Scott came up. I've not seen him. He must have forgot to join in. Otherwise, he would have chipped in, said something. I had a couple of glasses of that, and honestly, 36 hours I was pure spaced, pure atrocious. Yeah, so I always aim to do these things for about an hour. I've actually managed to catch up. I'm sorry if you kind of left when you were I never actually got to your question. It's going to be damn difficult to do like the timestamp thing. I mean, I can understand how Phil McKnight can do it because he's getting asked questions that he knows the answer to, and he's kind of like quite organized, and he's not drunk. Whereas I'm just kind of bleh, and I don't even know. I'm kind of jumping about all over the place. It's going to be quite difficult to do that. I suppose I could tell you what's coming up this week. I've got some interesting stuff. Some previews. It's like pure. Yeah. I got a couple of pedals as well. I showed you the Morley. I got this as well. It's a Behringer. I got it with the Morley, guys. It was it 60 quid? 65 quid if you want this with it. A fiver, really? A fiver for a multi-affectionate. So this is a Behringer. It's stereo in and out, and it's got phaser, chorus, flanger, tremolo, pitch shifter, and delay in it. So I'm thinking, right, a guitar, 2 pickups, right, running in stereo into it, 2 outputs, and have this actually in the guitar. That might be quite interesting. More for a laugh. Oh, someone asked about the Marshall. Sorry, I keep missing things. Yes, if I've missed a question and I didn't ask it again. Now I've got to the end. Good thinking. The Marshall bass head is this Marshall bass head. This is a Marshall DBS 400. It's a 400 watt bass head, but the way there's some, and I'm not that sure about how watts work, but you get like a base watts and then you get a headroom thing. So have you ever seen the Ampeg ones you get in rehearsal studios that say they're 2000 watt, right? They're actually 200 watt, but you can measure it the other way and you get 2000, right? This is 400 watt if you measure it the first way, and 10,000 if you measure it the other way. Is it a 10,000 output or something? So it's like, it's honestly, it's louder than Satan's first dump of the day. Really, it's like the 410s and a 115, and it's so loud that I can't even turn it on in the house. No, literally, if the way it's set just now, which is like the last gig, I don't think I've actually touched that knob. If I turned it on and just went da-dunk, all the guitars would fall off the wall, that TV would come down, that would smash, eyes would start bleeding. It's so loud, it's ridiculous. It doesn't sound loud though. You know, you try it in the studio and you're like, up here, it's so clean, it sounds exactly the same at shouting volume as it does at aeroplane taking off. I'm sure like up here, it doesn't really seem to be going that loud, and then the rest you realise your fillings are falling out, your eyes, vision's cloudy, and you're talking to someone after you stop playing, you go, it's not really that loud, and you can't hear your own self speaking. It's that loud. Ridiculous. Yeah, so I mean, obviously the Black Sabbath band want me to take that to every gig, but it's a nightmare. That's why I bought that wee one. 150 watt. I can run that kind of nearer flat out, but that thing is just, apart from the fact that the gig I did take it to, I had to carry the bastard down the stairs, and it was a nightmare. Yeah. Did they mess with the format? What format? I don't know. Just get drunk and talk to the camera? Yeah. It's quite easy to do. Look up Ricky Warwick doing an acoustic Ace of Spades. Tells about Lemmy and Booze. I never met Lemmy. I have been within a foot of Lemmy though. I saw Lemmy in the Barras twice, or Motorheads in the Barras twice, and that actually the time I actually went crowd surfing, and it was he had like I think he might have had 3 Marshall cabinets on top of each other, and he had like number plates, car number plates in the front. It was like, I think one of them's called, there's one called Murder One and something, and really been in front of Lemmy's, and it's like they were on. There was no faffing about with fake cabinets with Lemmy. They were on, and Motorhead were just, it's kind of sad they've gone. The last time I saw Motorhead, they were supporting somebody. Well, they're supporting Alice Cooper, and Lemmy was, it was about a year before Lemmy died. Lemmy was already on the way out. You could sort of tell it wasn't the same. When I saw Motorhead, like in the late, maybe 97, 98, 99, something like that, and then again in 2001. In fact, I definitely saw them in 2001 because I've got a Motorhead t-shirt that unfortunately says Motorhead England on it, which is fair enough, they're from England, but I wasn't ever that keen. But it was 2001, and they were still the Motorhead that were on the young ones. They were still the Ace of Spades Motorhead as far as I was concerned, still absolutely kicking it. Brilliant. I have caught up. I think maybe everyone asked a question. There was a pure bad conversation going on. I've got like a community. Someone said, "Oh, you got a great community going." I've got a community. Get that right up here. I got a community. You're fantastic. Like Marty McFly, yeah, very much so. I didn't touch his feet. To be honest, although it's come up twice tonight, me touching famous people's feet. I don't think I've ever really touched famous people's feet, or I don't really have a foot fetish. But I've not met him. Well, I'm not going to now. He always seemed fun though. I did like I have met his band, Hawkwind, the original lineup that played in Search for Space. I've got a bit of an acoustic guitar. I don't know how easily I could find it. I threw away the acoustic guitar because it was terrible. I kept the piece. I kept that. It was a black acoustic guitar. It was like, oh no, I found something on. So this was the top of a black acoustic guitar, and I sanded a bit off the top, and it's signed at the Canterbury Fair by the original guitarist, the original drummer of Hawkwind in Search of Space, and two of the guys from the original lineup of the Electric Prunes. So it was 2002. I went to Canterbury. I've not yet decided what to do with this. It was like the guitar was atrocious and pure broken. The way it worked is that you couldn't play more than one string at a time. You could sort of pluck power chords. No idea what was wrong. It was before I knew anything to do with guitars. So there you go. So I have met members of Hawkwind. Basically, they were sitting next to me when we were watching other bands at the most amazing festivals ever, which were the Canterbury Fair. Fantastic. See, I'm not joking. See my my Softtech. I got that on my 19th birthday or something like that, and I got it for Christmas, and I got my dad to buy it for me. You know, I was 19. It was like my 19th birthday, and it was 50 quid brand spanking new for that Softtech, which is now probably worth $1,000. And it was like a week before Christmas, and before I was allowed to use it, I went down and I bought Electroset, so the volume and the gain go from 1 to 11. Instead of going from 0 to 10, they go from 1 to 11. It's ridiculous. Let me stood in your hand. Awesome. I mean, I think that's a claim to fame. That's brilliant. I think the amp the amp that they use in Berkeley Studios in town, the bass amps go up to 11. I think it was EKS is the guitar people were talking about earlier on. Made in Sweden amps, and it's like we're in the studio with the Black Sabbath band last week, and I was like, I'm playing so damn loud, it's ridiculous. And they were still, when I was recording some of the rehearsals with the GoPro, just you stick it in the corner just as a sort of reference. I'd be bass is loud enough, so I was like, right, I'm going to be out as hell. So I literally had 200 watt bass amp, 300 watt bass amp, 200 watt or 200, at least 200, 300 watt bass amp, 8 by 8 cabinet, 8 by 8 cabinet at maximum, and having the gain at like 3/4 and the volume at maximum on this thing, playing it, and it's like you couldn't even feel it. It was just up here booming. I could feel my trousers flapping. Couldn't really hear it because it was so loud. It was just like that, and that was ridiculous. It was totally silly. Yeah, I'm off now as well, Craig. That spinner in 42. I always aim for about an hour in case I get lost. I mean, I really don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I've kind of started talking about this guitar, and I think I've got about 2 sentences in. I can talk about this guitar alone for half an hour, so maybe I'll do a video during the week of me talking about this guitar alone for half an hour. Anyone wants to buy a guitar, I've got a few for sale. I've got that Raleigh Les Paul is really good, and I've got the Squire 51, which I've not actually put up for sale because after I bought it, another 2 came up 2 days later. It's like I've not seen one for ever before. It's like suddenly they just came up. And cheers, Craig. Catch you later, man. Thanks to everyone. I mean, thanks to everybody for joining in and talking and being part of it. If I missed you, I don't really remember. I didn't intentionally miss out anyone because of what they said or like that. You know, I tried to talk. It's great just having a bit of a chat. I've actually got my pal Rab. Hopefully, is going to come and film the gig I'm talking about. It would be good. Basically, just turning on the GoPro. I think it'd be nice to get it proper. I mean, I was thinking if only I knew somebody who was mad into films and could, like actually properly film it. I'm talking about having 2 cameras, a fixed one, and somebody walking about, and then film the 4 bands. And then I was thinking kind of like the Isle of Wight video sort of thing. Wouldn't that be fantastic? If anyone on here is like a mad film buff who knows how to do editing and is willing to come and see 4 pure awesome bands. Well, 2 of them are awesome because I'm in them, and I'm sure the third one, I'm sure the other 2 are amazing as well. Do a kind of Isle of Wight type thing. That film, that'd be awesome. See Nesbitt? I don't know. Yeah, so I'm obviously a bit drunk. Was it? People were liking someone was liking the. Different key this time. Good night. I love you all. See you during the week, and I will see you next Sunday, where I've got quite drunk this week. It's a bit hot. But great stuff, and I'm loving doing this. Thanks so much for all of you. I see my there'll be a special prize, I suppose. I'll do something when I hit 2,000 subs. I passed 1,900 the other day. So yeah, rocking. Catch you all later. Love you all. And I've got to press this twice. Rock.